what's your initial reaction to the De Zerbi appointment? Is it you happy?
I'll be real. I can't believe we got the Zerbi. I'll be dead real. Like, in terms of tacticians, he has shaped football meta. He shaped football meta. Like, I don't think you understand. Pep Guardiola, and people are going to just look at it like, okay, Pep says a lot of things, isn't it? But he came out
To be
and
fair, he does.
he does. But he said, like, he actually changed the way he started playing out from the back, how he organized his teams. And when I was watching a few videos, and this is Brighton days, when I was watching the Zerbi, and they were talking about, because they used to bring it up on like PremierLeague.com, you used to do little videos, or Sky Sports would do a feature. And sometimes I think, why would managers do that? Like, why do managers expose their tactics so much? But because his style is so varied, it's not just like one system, because we can go for it and say, oh, yeah, sometimes he plays a back four, sometimes he plays a back three, sometimes he plays with a back five. It doesn't matter. It's about the detail. He's like, if Pochettino was a hospital, I think he would be the lab scientist. Does that make sense? So detailed and what he's so meticulous and how he shapes and develops players. And there's a reason why you've seen Caicedo at Brighton sold for what 100 mil. McAllister, he was sold for what 60 million. And for me, they don't look as good as where they was and at Brighton. Do you know what I mean? Caicedo had a few seasons when he was looking decent. He hasn't looked as sharp. Same with McAllister. He was when he first went over to Liverpool, he was looking decent, and then he's kind of like mellowed out. But I could say another player like Ferguson, another top striker. He's come. All right, forget Brighton for a second. Let's go to Marseille, right? Go to Højbjerg. Remember, we sold him. We sold Højbjerg, and now he's like regarded as one of these top midfielders in France. Why is that? The coach has got a lot to do with how he positions players. And I think someone said it, I can't remember who it was. And they said one of the best tactics is how you position and profile your players. Do you know what I mean? So that in itself just screams to me, Cole, this guy he's elite. He is what it is. I know people say, but where's the trophies? You're talking about all this, you're hyping him up. Look, it's not just Pep. Klopp came out and praised him. Arteta came out and praised him. These are top coaches. Italy, teams in Italy, top teams in Italy wanted him. Top teams in Spain wanted him. I remember when Man United were linked. Man United fans were getting giddy. Oh, we might get the Zerbi, blah, blah, blah. It comes to Tottenham, and then this happens. What? Bro, who do we think we are? Like, I just don't. Our chest is high. Oh, what? Because we're not getting Poch, huh? Like Poch is a good coach. I'm not trying to lie, but so is the Zerbi. Both could be right, The Zerbi is a top coach. So for me, I'm looking at it, I'm feeling lucky. Like, how did we pull this off?
But Ash, the kind of argument to that is his volatility, and he always kind of storms out at clubs and clashes with boards and stuff like that. Like, how do we stop that happening?
No, well, we can't, because that's inevitable. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Every genius, like, they have their Michael Jackson. He was a genius. He died early. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you've got other geniuses around. They don't last for long. They're here for now, but they're here for a good time, not a long time. That's what I'm saying. So with the Zerbi, it's inevitable. He's going to leave in the next 2 years to 18 months. But who hasn't? Like, apart from Pochettino, who hasn't? So and I think that's where people are looking at it. Like, Poch is like the father figure of the modern day Spurs fan. And that's where we want to get back to. But at the same time, you just have to put a little bit more respect on who De Zerbi is in the actual football world. Forget Spurs for a second. And people will look at it and say, oh, but what has he won? Like, that's the only argument you can throw at De Zerbi at the moment. But you have to remember, he's still new in the game. He's still young. He's like in his 40s? I think he's in his 40s.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
46, yeah.
Yeah, so he's still, I know it feels like he's been around forever, but look, I'll put some credence to it. I'll slow it down a little bit, because you are right. In terms of his volatility, in terms of him blowing up and losing his head, I think the issues are when he goes into the transfer market long term, he might buy a player, say, I want this player, I want this player, I want this player, and then realize, oh, that player's no good. Do you know what I'm saying? But then do we have the board that have the stomach to go into the window again and continuously back him again? And that's where the fallout inevitably will happen and he will end up leaving. But I would rather have a De Zerbi set us up and get us more technical players and play on the front foot and play attacking football rather than this halfway in between defense and attack or pragmatic or sensible football, because that's what we've been doing. Sensible football. Has it worked out? So far, no. We've tried the long ball. We've tried the crosses in the box. We've tried the XG. Oh, they'll let shots inside the box. Do you know what I'm saying? So maybe we go back to what was working with Ange, but another level. Because remember, as I said, the difference between him and Ange, I know Ange has won things across the world, but just not done it in Europe. I think where De Zerbi differs, he has got that experience in Europe. And he's raised from Italy. He was raised in Milan. He used to play for AC Milan. So he's got that culture about him. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's a Cruyff disciple in terms of school of thought, or a Pep disciple, school of thought in terms of
He's also a Bielsa disciple as well.
Yeah, exactly. So look, for me, I'm here for it. Whether we get the type of players we need is a different question. I don't know. But just in the short term, like people compare the Brighton stint. They'll look to the Brighton stint because obviously that's Premier League. And that doesn't look good either because he lost his first four, and then I think he drew his other two, and he only won one game. So that's not really looking too good if you're saying that he's got to come in and firefight for the next 7 games. But even if he was to get relegated and we were in a championship, I would have fun with the Zerbi championship. I'm not going to lie to you. I would enjoy those days.
Ash, you talk about the tactical side of him. As you say, we've got 7 games to save ourselves, and as you just mentioned, he took a while to get his style going at Brighton and stuff like that. How stubborn do you think he is to like his system, his way of playing? Do you think he will compromise in the short term to keep us up, and then maybe go all out De Zerbi ball next season, or do you think he's going to from day one say we're going to go De Zerbi ball, we're going to try play this way, even if we go down, we'll go down playing this way, and then we'll come back up playing this way? Or do you think maybe he'll compromise a bit, try and at points be a bit pragmatic, and say, look, this season we've just got to get through it, get enough results to stay up, and then we're going to start implementing De Zerbi ball next season?
He doesn't come across as a compromiser. He comes across as a stubborn type. He has something called principles and stands by them. Like the guy from Scarface. He goes, "All I have is my words and my balls, and I stand by them." I think he's that type of character. Do you know what I mean? So, I personally think from day one, he's gonna weed out who can do what he wants and who can't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Simple as that. If he looks at Paulinho and he thinks, all right, I need my DM to drop in between the 2 centre backs, and when that ball comes back from that third man pass and we hit that triangle, that next ball needs to go forward. If Paulinho can't execute a forward pass on the floor and get to one of the attackers, then Paulinho is not going to be a part of the system. Simple as that. So some of your favourite players aren't going to be in this particular system, however much we might like them. But I think, yeah, he's a man that he likes players that don't hide. That's one thing I like. Mm-hmm. And he likes intensity. So forget about, as I said, 4-4-2, 4-3-2-1. That's going to be different to how maybe a Forest manager sets up. Do you know, a Pereira sets up his 4-2-3-1 compared to what De Zerbi. They said, was it Kevin Prince Jr.? He's talking about it in an interview with Rio Ferdinand. And the way he was talking, he was like, this manager, trust me, he will play for one of the top 6 teams and he'll be winning Champions Leagues. Trust me on that. All right, cool. It's a bit of glaze, isn't it? Forget it. All right, whatever. But the way he was talking about the level of detail that he gives to the players, like when Kevin Prince Jr. was talking, I thought he was a coach because the way he was breaking it down, and I can imagine him giving that level of instruction to each player. You know what like Pep does? He goes on the pitch, and even if they've won, it doesn't matter. He's still got to break down the game, what they could have done different, they could have done better. The Zerbi's that type of guy. Like, it doesn't matter if you win the game, you need to win it his way, in his style. Do you know what I'm saying? And he was saying in his first 4 or 5 games, he said, yeah,
we weren't getting results, but that didn't matter to me because I was seeing that the performances eventually catch up with the results. So I wasn't worried, even though the first 4 games we didn't get the points. But even if you look at Marseille, in Marseille, he won 4 out of his 7 games and he drew 2 out of them 7 games. Do you know what I'm saying? And only had 1 loss. So you could look at the Premier League example. You could equally look at the French example. Aubameyang, you know what I'm saying? People saying he's tired, he's washed up, look how old he is. Bro, he's looking like a superstar, like one of the top scorers at Marseille. Do you know what I mean? And so he's knowing how to platform these players. He talks a lot about body orientation, how to receive it. There's a video when he's talking about how to control the ball, and he's got his boot, and he's looking, and he's actually saying, look, control with this part of your boot here. And that's because he likes players to get on the half turn. So I'm watching these videos, and I'm like, all right, cool. This guy, he sounds legit to me. I don't know, innit? And I'm not saying here that, oh, he's going to definitely keep us up. I'm not doing all of that. Do you know what I mean? Because no one can tell him. No one can honestly say that the Zerbi's going to keep us up. We don't know, innit? But what I can say is the style of play and going back to what people want, which is front-footed football and attacking football and things that people enjoyed under Ange, this is a guy that's going to deliver that. And he's a coach that a lot of fans, Chelsea fans, screw it. Because they know that the Zerbi's a better coach than Mourinho. Do you know what I'm saying? Man United fans, they got Carrick, but they wanted the Zerbi. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like, raw. All right, we didn't bring in Harry Redknapp to save the day and do vibes, because that's what a lot of people wanted. Vibes, good vibes. We didn't bring in Mason. Mason knows the club, everyone. Mason knows the club. Bring it to Mason. But there's a chance that you give it to Mason and you get relegated, and then you don't get a De Zerbi type manager because we were trying to save him for the summer. So I'm not mad if we fast forward that and, we're pocket watching. How much money is that? Blah, blah, blah. Brother, is it your money though? Is it your money? Relax, in it. Yeah, but I pay £100, but I pay $2,000 a season. Bro, like, I know we're fans, innit? But at the end of the day, we spent money on Richarlison. How much money? 60 million on Richarlison, 60 million on, you know what I'm saying? 40 million people still moaning about Archie Gray because we spent 40 million. So what? So 100%, what?
100%.
If they do the job, then who cares? If they don't do the job, you buy another one. You move on. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But people want to live there. I don't get it, man. But for me, De Zerbi,
all fans want to be accountants. That's all it is.
Well, that's what I'm about. I just want to see good football. Do you know what I'm saying? And look, I saw the title Locatelli. So I know he improved him because obviously he was about 22, 23 when he took him out South Florida. So if people are like here, Locatelli, everyone's like, Locatelli, we need Locatelli, we need Locatelli, we need Locatelli. And then all of a sudden the Zerbi comes. Where's that Locatelli chat before now? Where's that energy gone? Because everyone's like, we need a ball playing midfielder. Who's the ball playing midfielder creator? Huh? Oh, wait. Who is the ball midfielder creator? The Zerbi is. So McAllister's been linked as well. Obviously, look, I don't know. They're just rumors, isn't it? So I'm not gonna buy into it. I'm not gonna get excited about the hype. But I'm just saying we've got an elite manager that knows how to platform particular players, especially youngsters. Even like Maxi Lopez, right? Maxi Lopez is playing at Paris FC right now. He's killing it in the French league. But even before then, when he was in the Italian league, he said, who's the coach that's influenced you the most? He's like, De Zerbi. There's hundreds of players that come out and they all say De Zerbi, De Zerbi, De Zerbi, De Zerbi, because all he knows is football. He don't do the whole pretty up talking about other things. Do you know what I'm saying? Go on.
Ash, you mentioned earlier, the football meta, how he's influenced it, and Pep mentioning it, Klopp mentioning it. And
he called him the most influential manager in the last 20 years.
And I think he definitely is. And he influenced the way I think you see Premier League football at the moment with his press baiting and how his build-up play. But is there a case to be said that was revolutionary about 3 or 4 years ago? Football moves so quickly now. Teams adapt so quickly. That already teams have started to adapt to that way of playing. And I think already you see now hybrid presses and teams focusing on out of possession kind of formation and set up but to counteract what De Zerbi was already doing. And is there a case to be said that is De Zerbi already quickly getting outdated, his way of playing?
That's why we brought Frank in, because Frank was meant to be the hybrid between the two. He was meant to be the bridge, the gap. We tried the sensible one where, remember, Frank's more of the out of possession play. He's more about focusing on what to do, setting traps, winning that ball back. how to negate the opposition, how to nullify your opponent. Whereas the Zerbi's got the complete opposite attitude. Do you know what I mean? He wants to be the protagonist. Like Frank wanted to be the antagonist. He didn't know how to be the main guy, how to be the bully, the flat track bully.
Yeah.
And seeing that with the Zerbi, he wants to be the guy. And you see, like, okay, I know what you're saying. Like when teams don't accept the bait, you know, like, to bait the press, meaning he wants the teams to press him. He wants teams to go man to man.
You can't bait the press if there's no press.
But right now, in the football meta right now, man to man is in fashion.
Right.
Low speed are doing man to man, so that can favor the Zerbi. However, when he was trying to break down low blocks, I've seen him change it to a back five, to a back three, use wing backs to go 3-1-6. Do you know what I'm saying? Even use the goalkeeper as a DM. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it sounds mad, but these are little things that he's trying to constantly. It's not like he went to Brighton and stood there tactically in frozen time. No, since he's gone to Marseille, he's been working on his craft. He's like a Pep. He's a thinking manager. He's like,
that's my point. So is he constantly, do you think he's the kind of manager like Pep every couple of years seems to constantly involve his tactics and involve how City play and set up? Same with Arteta as well, to be fair. Do you think he's that kind of guy where he's going to keep evolving it? Like, yes, right, he was revolutionary with this press baiting system, but with that, or with teams already catching up to that, is he in the process of having to evolve again already, do you think?
So I think there's a difference between evolving tactically and having principles. I think his principles will stay the same, but I think tactically he is evolving and he's changing. And we've seen that with Marseille. Like I said, he's gone to a back three. I've seen a 4-4-2 at times. Do you know what I'm saying? He did do a 4-4-2 at Brighton as well, but he can change his systems. He can move things around depending on what players. He's adaptable to what players he has, like at his disposal. So he'll look at a player and will think, because that's what one of the players said. He said, this is what Junior said, Kevin Prince Jr. Boateng. He said he looks at the players and he says, okay, I've got this out of a player, but what doesn't he have? How can I get that out of him? How can I improve that side of him? Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how he platforms his play. That's why he's known to improve players. So that's why when they Fabrizio Romano posted that post saying, here we go, Robert De Zerbi to Tottenham, you saw a few Tottenham players liking it. Because they know, bruv. They know that they're about to be improved. They know what's going on. So that's what it is, in my opinion.
Ash, let me ask you this. Let's assume for a second that we stay upright next season. Fast forward to next season. Who is going to be the biggest beneficiaries in the squad? Which players do you think that are going to come on leaps and bounds under De Zerbi?
All the young players, because they're going to be able to take on the information. They're still, because the thing is, when you're young, you're not set in your ways in terms of like making mistakes. When you're old, you've made the mistakes, and it's harder to turn those mistakes around because you're so. Football's like repetition. It's all about rhythm. It's all about patterns. And if you keep making those same rhythms, it's hard to kind of, change out of those rhythms, or if that makes sense, or acquire new habits, because that's what it is. You're trying to essentially form new habits. So I think Archie Gray will improve because he talks about receiving the ball. He wants players to have different body orientations when receiving the ball. And Bergvall as well. I think those two midfielders there, I think they will develop the most underneath him. You've got other young players in like Odobert. I think Odobert might improve once he comes back. Kudos. I know he wanted Kudos from...
They nearly signed him, yeah.
And I think him coming back in the side, I think he may save our season. He might keep us up because he's going to ultimately add the balance we need on that right-hand side, which would open up the left-hand side, whether that be Xavi Simons or even Matthias Tell. They might have a free run and goal. He likes people to break into the box. Sometimes he plays with 2 10s. Sometimes he plays with 2 8s. Sometimes he plays with a winger that's touchline. Sometimes he plays with inverted forwards. And sometimes he plays with midfielders that are playing in the wing position. Do you know what I'm saying? Or the fullback might be a midfielder that inverts. Do you know what I mean? So every position is basically fluid. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of rotations in his attacking play. So he likes to drag and create spaces, and he's thinking, how can I create those spaces? But yeah, for me, the education to some of those younger players are going to help. Bergvall for me, Gray, and Odobert and Kudos.
And also, we've kind of taken it under the assumption over the past couple of months, Van der Ven, Romero, they're done at this football club. Do you think this De Zerbi appointment changes anything on that aspect?
That's a good question. I think it really does depend how the season ends. I think Romero and Van der Ven will eventually be sold, in my opinion, because of the season we've had. I think there needs to be sales. We've lost a lot of revenue. I'm no finance expert, but I would imagine we'd have to, since that Kane sell, what was our biggest sell? Like, we need to sell
Brennan Johnson, I think, probably.
Yeah, and maybe that's the reason why Brennan Johnson got sold, because we need to make those purchases. Players need to go out for us to bring players in. And if the Zerbi's come in and said, I need this player, that player, that player, and this player for my system to work, then we're going to have to make a sacrifice somewhere along the lines. And I think possibly it could be both Romero and Van der Ven, or one of them. But the highest price ticket, I think, one of those guys will go, and that will free up money and space in the squad for him to buy certain players. I think Basuma might go as well, even though I think Basuma might be suited to the Zerbi ball short term. But I think long term, in terms of him, I think switching on, switching off, staying in the game for 90 minutes. I think he's a player that, because he's not on a long-term contract, is he? So I think he'll be a player that's easier to get off the books, to create space, add a player in. Bentancur's on a longer-term contract, I know, but again, he might be sold as well, just to give room and space and get a bit of money. And I said it before, players that you might like, they might sold. Even Porro, players we might like, Porro, he might even go. And I think it's because those players come from that era where we signed them under Conte, and I think it's been 3 or 4 years for some of them. So it's just I think it's a new term, it's a new tide where these new players will come in, and it'll be a completely different looking Spurs in the summer. Yeah. I don't think it'll be a massive change, but those are the players I'd imagine between you've got 3 or 4 players. If we're going to bring 3 or 4 players in, then those 3 or 4 players that are senior need to come out to create room, in my opinion.
And also, if Romero goes, you've got a Luka Vuskovic that can come straight in at right centre-back, and he's a player, obviously very young, that De Zerbi can mould right into his image, isn't he?
Yeah. Like I said, he developed. I know, like, Brighton's academy is a lot higher than what we have, because they scout all over the world. They've got like a scout for South America, they've got a scout for Europe, they've got a scout for Asia, they've got a scout for, North America, for example. And then they've got scouts that are just for goalkeepers. They've got scouts just for defenders and midfielders. So De Zerbi will be used to having, or be looking for players that can fit some of those roles, in my opinion.
All right, big up, Ash. That was unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming on. I think everyone in the live chat was just saying how gassed they are for De Zerbi now. Seeing how gassed you are.
Wait. Let me slow them down. I'm gassed. But like, go watch the videos and you can be even more gassed. I'm telling you, there's so much videos on there, but there's so much tactical information on De Zerbi. Like, it's gonna blow your. We've never had a coach like this. This coach is. I know he's a hothead, and the people wanted that arm around the players. We tried that with Frank. We tried the nice guy thing. It didn't work. And then Tudor tried to do the bad guy thing, but he hasn't got clap. We
also did the horrible bastard thing with Conte.
Yeah, this is it. So for me, like, he's like, if Conte and Ange had a baby, minus the trophies, of course. But like I said, he's still young in his career. I think they've got De Zerbi. That's what you get birthed. But I hear we're like, I've got the same fears as other Spurs fans. Seasons to come, like 18 months down the line, Enoch, if they're still there, if they haven't sold up, that's where we're going to hit a brick wall. Do you know what I mean? But the team would have been built for the next one to come on, and then we can move forward, hoping that they continue with this attacking style manager, kind of technical style manager, after De Zerbi. Do you know what I mean? But for now, like I said, I'm surprised that we got him. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm so surprised.
Big up, Ash. Thanks for coming on. Everyone go and subscribe to Spurs Kings TV, and we'll speak to you soon, Ash.
Peace and love.
Cheers, man.